Hey folks, Dan the Produce Man here along with my good old produce pal,
Guido the gardener.
Yes, that's right. And boy, oh boy, do we have something really exciting for you today. We've talked about them before, but it's September, and September is the perfect tomato month here in the Bay Area, here in California.
Lots of sun. That's what these tomatoes love, especially these big tomatoes. They come around a little bit earlier in the summer, but they really get good in August and into September.
We have our heirlooms.
You'll get a regular brandy wine is red. You'll get a yellow brandy wine.
Right.
Cherokee purple is the one that's common.
My favorite.
Marvel stripe. But the thing is, folks, with these heirloom tomatoes is way back, this is what tomatoes look like. They're delicate tomatoes. The heirloom tomato usually has thinner skin, and even if it's got thicker skin to them, like a Marvel stripe, even a thick skin will be kind of soft. So in general, these things don't hold up. They don't hold up,
right.
But they taste marvelous.
So if you're going to use them, buy them ripe, the ripeness you like, and then use them.
Don't expect a really firm heirloom tomatoes. They were just not bred for that.
It reminds me of a story.
Which story is this, Mr. Dan?
At this very market that we are filming at, I worked here as a teenager. And the old man that had the store, his name was Frank Markey, he's my produce mentor. And he was putting tomatoes on the stand one time, and I was working on the other side of the stand doing the cherry tomatoes. And there was a lady, and she was picking up all the tomatoes and going like this, just like this. Finally, she looked at him
life out of him, huh?
with this real sour puss on her face, and she goes, "How come all your tomatoes are soft?" And he looked at her and he said, "You'd be soft too if people were squeezing you all day long." I'll never forget it. It was just one of those many memorable moments of growing up working in a produce market.
Yeah, he was a character, that man.
Yes, he was. So some of the other shining stars are these Sweet 100s, organically grown. Now, every tomato on the stand here is organically grown. You've got four different farms here. But what's really incredibly just over the top is this dry farmed, organic, early girl tomato. Boy, oh boy. And what dry farming is this. I've had a couple of farmers explain it to me. One farmer lets the
transplant.
Thank you. Takes the transplant.
That's why I'm here, to fill in the gaps.
Maybe I need a transplant. So they take the transplants when they're about this tall, and they dig a hole way down in the ground, and they stick the tomato in with about that much sticking out.
Right.
They cover it up with dirt. They put some water in there one time. And then, man, oh man, that's it.
They let it go.
Yeah, they let it go. And those roots dig way down. They grow deep down, 4 to 5 feet, 6 feet, some of them, grabbing, because they're naturally looking for moisture, because the tomatoes are only watered once with this dry farm process. So as they look for that moisture, now they're grabbing nutrients that are way down in the soil that the surface plants don't usually get. And without the watering and with those extra minerals,
intense flavor. Intense flavor.
Absolutely.
And you can't grow dry farms everywhere. You need a high water table to keep the plant healthy. And it also helps if you're in a foggy area, especially the mornings and the evenings, if it's damp, and that keeps the plant nice and cool.
And the foggy areas are like, these are Coralitas, and then there's some in Davenport, which is
south of the San Francisco Bay, but very close. Some of them are grown within spitting distance of the ocean. That's how close they are to the moisture.
So it's an amazing thing. And then the other grower told me that they just take the transplants, put them in the ground, give them 3 consecutive waterings, and then that's it.
But it's the same idea, is that you don't overwater the plant, so the flavor really gets intense in these dry farm tomatoes.
Absolutely. Hey folks, we're live at Dan's Farmers Market, my old store, which was Dan's Fresh Produce. Now it's called Dan's Farmers Market, and our good buddy Chewie, who's going to join us for a minute, he's the proprietor of the place, and he's doing a fantastic job bringing in these tomatoes. Absolutely delicious. You can't beat the dry farms. Hey, Chewie.
Hey, Dan. Hi.
Hi. Hey, folks.
Hello there,
Chewie. the new owner of Dan's Farmers Market. Dan's Market here in Alameda. And Chewie, when I owned this store for years, I would buy these tomatoes through Chewie. Now he owns a store and he brings them in direct. So guess what? You're probably going to get them $1 or $2 cheaper than what I sold them for.
No more middlemen.
No
So
more middlemen.
tell us about Sea Level Farm.
Well, Sea Level Farm is located in Corralitos, right next to Santa Cruz, where I like from this farm and the tomatoes especially is the real tasty. They have a lot of acid and a lot of sugar together where it makes really a strong flavor.
Yes, absolutely.
Very strong flavor.
We were eating these earlier, and the difference between a dry farm tomato and even an heirloom tomato, which is a flavorful tomato in itself, but the dry farm tomato is just very, very intense.
You know what? Because I'm in the farm a lot with Sea Level, where he always talk about they make the best tasting tomatoes is not water it so much. Like this tomato right here, they water it a lot more than this. That's why the fruit is so small. The flavor is so intense. So it makes so much difference with dry farm and regular grown tomatoes. We make tomato sauce at home for winter when it's no good tomatoes.
Right.
Right.
I'm waiting the whole year to eat these tomatoes.
Yeah.
I'm waiting, yeah.
And it's worth the wait, folks. You can use a dry farm in sauce. You can use a dry farm in a salad. You could use any of the heirlooms to make a sauce or a caprese salad. If you've got a good, rich, bold flavored tomato, it's good in anything. Tomatoes.
If you're locally here in the Bay Area, even if you're not in Alameda, it's worth making a trip here to Dan's Farmers Market. Say hello to Chewie and the crew, and they're doing a fantastic job. I mean, that's why he calls it Dan's Farmers Market, because it is like a farmer's market every day here at this location. So Chewie, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Chewie.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Guido,
Yeah.
how would you pick out a tomato if you were shopping in the store?
Mainly with these dry farms, it's color. When they're nice and red, they're pretty much ready. The other thing is look on a calendar. And if it's middle of August into September, it's a great time for these.
That's true. You can't beat it right now. If you're going to eat tomatoes this year, do it now. Because once the first frost comes, and as the daylight hours get shorter and the ground temperature gets colder, these things start to get a little more mealy, but the flavor's still there. So enjoy them now. September's a really warm month here in California. So and October too. But again, shorter daylight hours.
And also the plants have been in the ground for quite a while. They'll start to lose their vitality. So now's the time to do it.
So do it, baby. Do it. Did you know that at one time that tomatoes were thought of as poisonous by many people?
For a very, very long time.
By the Aztecs,
Yeah.
by
Most of the-
definitely Americans.
Yeah. Well, and most of the Europeans, except for the Italians. The Italians always ate them.
Yeah, and you know what? One reason that they thought they were poisonous is because the upperclassmen in those areas ate off of lead plates. So they cut up the tomatoes, put it on a lead plate, the acid would leach into the plate,
They'd be eating lead.
lead poisoning, boom, they would croak. The peasants ate off of wooden plates, so they weren't dying of tomato poisoning.
Yeah.
So here in America, though,
Well, what happened? Well, this is the lore. Is what happened is way back 1820, on the steps of Salem, New Jersey. It was
the courthouse.
the courthouse steps. Yeah, one very brave soul. He was Colonel Gibbons, Robert Gibbons Johnson.
Yes.
He sat on the courthouse steps with a bushel full of tomatoes and ate that bushel full of tomatoes, did not die, which people in the crowd were expecting him to do just that.
There was a mass theater crowd, and they were gasping and
Oh my
fainting
gosh,
and everything
he's
else.
gonna croak right over, and he survived, lived a long time, And that opened the door for tomato eating here in the United States.
Though people were eating them.
They were eating them
Italians
anywhere.
were
Oh,
eating
we
them
were
already.
eating them anywhere.
So
Yeah.
they're probably
Yeah.
saying, hey, you foolish
Yeah,
Americans.
but then again, we Italians eat a lot of weird stuff.
Okay, folks, so that's it on tomatoes. We hope you go and get them this month. Get them now. Stop by here, Dan's Farmers Market here in Alameda, California. If you're not in this area, go to your local farmers market. Ask for dry farmed organic tomatoes today, because you're going to miss out otherwise.
Yeah.
If you're a tomato lover, this is the Love Apple. Till next time, I'm Dan the Produce Man, reminding you that it's always best when you get it fresh.
And I'm Guido the gardener, and I'll tell you what my Nonna Bessie always told me. Mangia!